Welcome back to my channel. Let's start. The administration she carries his family into the house, which Roy stores away from the public authority at night. Abigail and her mom come to the square having concurred with Roy before the young lady escapes the group. Furthermore, races to the place of Eat and Blake, the subsequent broker, who manages the undertakings of the Tainted on the way. Abigail detects an old colleague controller Garrett who was grilling a gathering of young fellows. Abigail moves into Blake's home and goes through the individual records of the contaminated looking for data about her dad. In any case, she doesn't figure out how to find the vital records Eat and gets back to the workplace having heard the discussion. Abigail chooses to follow Blake and getaways through the window and conceals in the storage compartment of the vehicle. Another traveler gets into the advocate's vehicle and Blake needs to accompany him to the Tainted region while Abigail watches the gatekeepers. A mob breaks out. External Blake's travelers end up being an opposer stunts bunch. The young lady turns into an irregular member and when a charge hits her, she tumbles to the ground and loses her pendant. An odd person diverts Abigail from the front line and somebody else's hand accepts the pendant is the more interesting, conveys the young lady to somewhere safe. She has a fantasy-like memory of pondering the wall. In any case, Jonathan has consistently left these discussions to occupy his little girl. The elderly person would turn the subject subtleties of men with multi-hued eyes and a malicious ruler awakening in a new spot. Abigail glances around and similarly as the young lady attempts to get away and it is uncovered before her to stun sight. A city of mystical individuals with shaded eyes from her dad's fantasies. Abigail is moved toward by a whiskery creep Spencer whose work it is to prepare newcomers. He takes the outsider. DeMarcus and the wizards come clean with Abigail. There is no plague. The city specialists are attempting to annihilate individuals with extraordinary gifts. Another person goes into the room. Norman. He gives Marcus a weird item and shows Abigail a trick with a genuine ship. The inquisitive young lady gets something looking like an electric lamp and a blaze runs down the road, however has opportunity and willpower to manage it. Watch reports a watch in the city and a second transforms into a conventional area populated by VS. At the point when the investigators leave, Spencer reports to Pioneer Bale. The outsider isn't a request. Each young lady, she has a strong gift and he ought to prepare her to control her capacities. Bale consents to hold several classes with the visitor, however this doesn't satisfy the folks' companions Deller. In spite of this, the Pioneer welcomes Abigail to the ring. The young lady neglects to control the gadget and Bale won't acknowledge her into the gathering. Abigail recollects her father once more, yet she needs to go to Spencer. The elderly person shows the understudy Beers objects that control the components, recalling how our dad hid the reports in the mirror. Abigail hustles home without paying attention to parcels orders Stellar is on. The young ladies are envious of her body. She requests that he let the new young lady go and at absolutely no point ever given her into the camp access the future one's home. Abigail opens her dad's reserve and finds plans and a motor. Abigail admits to her mom that she knows that her dad's pendant stifled her capacities. Yet, the young lady would rather not conceal any longer and she will liberate the city from the despots. Abigail finds Roy and shows him the outlines. The controller lets the young lady know that it's a plan for a jail and the goodness best way to arrive as by flying boat. With the assistance of a motor, Roy vows to help the young lady and she hustles to the obstruction camp to inform him regarding her arrangements. The young lady requests that Bo drop the defiance and go behind the wall with her, yet the person arranges the outsider to quiet down, reminding her that she is the girl of a criminal who worked for the public authority. Abigail alone follows Roy into the passages, however he double-crosses his companion's family once more and a watch comes for the young lady. Garrett offers the young lady to go along with them, yet when she denies, the close buddy arranges the gatekeepers to obliterate her. The young lady is protected by Bale, yet Garrett wounds the fellow and Abigail needs to drag him back to the camp. At the point when the Pioneer wakes up and contention followed among him and the young lady, however Abigail neglects to persuade her amigo to go behind the wall together. Another memory of her dad reminds the young lady that it is so natural to get what she needs. Assuming companions cooperated, thinking about it, Abigail finds the entry to the passages alone and sets out toward the flying machine. While Bale begins a resistance in the city, the young lady needs to go back to caution her companions that their arrangements have been declassified and the examiners are going after the dissidents. Bale neglects to move the men away in time and the gathering needs to ward off a watch. Abigail sees that her companions are kicking the bucket and to save them the young lady utilizes the motor. She figures out how to stop the military, yet the gadget takes every one of the young lady's strength and Morcas diverts her in his arms. While Bale flags the city about the start of the resistance, the overseers capture the person. He discovers that they have been sold out by Stella. The young lady has deserted to Garrett's side, having found out about the capture of the pioneer. The individuals from the gathering obliterate all archives and leave the city. Abigail asks her companions not to surrender and attempt to save Bale and to give individuals certainty. She opens her dad's gadget and deliveries the ship. Hearing the visitors' words, they consent to go with her behind the wall. Just Spencer stays in the camp. The elderly person draws the examiners to him and explodes the base camp, giving his life for his companions. The group gets to the car with the capability to fly, and subsequent to liberating Bale, they fly above the city. Abigail discharges the ship once more, and the ship animal leads the boat to the jail situated behind the wall. The teacher's little girl is reluctant to discover that her dad additionally works for the reviewers. Be that as it may, Bale consoles her companion by showing her how to utilize her gift and make light coordinated from the heart. The boat gets through the imperceptible safeguard and approaches the jail. Drifting in the air, Bale plays the job of superintendent to get inside. However, the watchmen sort out it's a deception and the radicals need to safeguard themselves. While the young men assume control over the gatekeepers, Abigail looks through the jail in order to see her dad, yet he is mysteriously gone. Then the young lady glances around and perceives a gadget that looks like her pendant. It blocks the force of extraordinary individuals, and to free the city in the detainees they should annihilate it. Bale sees the boats oncoming and gets ready for a serious fight. In the meantime, Abigail remembers all that her dad told her as a youngster, attempting to track down hints in the recollections. One such memory provides the young lady some insight, and she sorts out the subtleties. To do this, Abigail needs 3 sorts of motors. By assembling them, the young lady will actually want to obliterate the machine, yet for this she requests that Bale delay. A multitude of reviewers breaks into the jail to suppress an uproar. Bale and his companions get into an inconsistent battle, yet Garrett, who has showed up, effectively obliterates the dissidents alongside Stella, who was their companion not very far in the past. Making an effort not to focus on what's going on, Abigail collects a gadget that will save the world, and her dad comes to her help in recollecting that he shows his little girl the past to obliterate the force of individuals needed. Garrett and Jonathan needed to give his life to run the machine to save his little girl. While Abigail contemplates her dad's wreck, Bale battles Garrett in the fire before Stella, the bad guy, is about to polish off the renegade by sending off a last crossbow. A bolt was taken shots at him, however the rebel lady covered her darling with herself, saving his life. Right now, Abigail fires her gadget with her gift, and the pillar skips off, delivering the powers of the extraordinary individuals toward the east. Simultaneously, her Bale fears that she will annihilate the loft that has supported the city for quite a long time, and impact waves will obliterate the walls around the city and freeze the occupants from spells cast by the dictator, who moves onto the tops of his companions. Having saved her reality and annihilated the phony plague, she addresses her dad once more and strolls gladly at her feet, realizing that her dad would be pleased with her. In the meantime, Abigail will begin another story for the town and her own story with Bale. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe,